we know that Cara is a huge Taylor Swift fan, which makes Chantell cringe quite a bit. But there it is. And if over the weekend, this is one of the complaints that those hardcore football fans have been saying, like, my goodness, what is with all this time being spent watching Taylor Swift on the sidelines of the Kansas City Chiefs games? And so then what happened later? But you love Taylor Swift.
I love Taylor Swift. Like, I mean, here's the thing. I'm not a Swiftie. I would not classify myself as a Swiftie. We were just talking about this. I love her lyrics. Her lyrics resonate with me. So it could be anybody else singing the same lyrics. There are people with way better voices than Taylor Swift, but it's the lyrics that resonate with me. So when I hear the songs, it's very nostalgic to me. It seemed like a lot of her albums from 2015 on resonated with me at the times that those albums came on. Those songs, it was like my life in song, basically. So that's why I just became a Taylor Swift fan. My daughter's a Swiftie.
And you went to the concert this past
I took
year
her to the concert,
too.
yes. Yes, but we did
You may
not
be a
pay
Swiftie.
thousands of dollars.
No.
My friend got a very good deal on the tickets, so we went, but I would never spend thousands to go. But it was a great concert, I have to say. She did a great job with that.
Yeah, and also, well, here you go, because the plot thickens because her boyfriend, of course, plays for Kansas City, and then the boyfriend's brother, Jason Kelsey, retired to great fanfare. They both play in the NFL, and then all of a sudden he shows up at the game and goes completely viral with this, this shirtless performance. Get this. Um, Up here, and so he's there. There it is, right there, and he's out there with a beer in hand, and just people are just astonished by what a man he is. So I feel like some of this is. I feel like some of this is maybe even scripted a little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
to some
I mean,
extent.
here's the thing. I think that this guy is more for her. Honestly, I think that I just get that feeling. But I definitely think it was like, all right, this is good. I mean, not only is he good for her, but the whole publicity thing. I mean, this is the best way to get more women involved with football.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so I will say this, and maybe you'll say that I'm cynical, viewers, but I think the whole thing is kind of contrived, a little bit scripted, and so and Sherry Bethel commenting and not agreeing with the shirt off, but that's and she loves Taylor Swift, and of course she is with Travis Kelsey. So that's the story, and so Sherry, you're in the running for a Soma candle and also for some Park Lane jewelry, which Cara will tell you about in a little bit. But that's the whole thing. And actually, in football, there actually is a theory out there, a little bit of a conspiracy theory that says a lot of this is scripted, and people are saying that it will be the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl. The reason being is because the Super Bowl logo colors are red and purple, and that has been the consistent thing over the last several years. And so there's a theory to test.
And
So
everything has been, it's just become so commercialized and built up. And I think this Taylor Swift thing is all part of that.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. So that's the real thing. So if it is San Francisco and Baltimore in the Super Bowl, then I think there's a good argument to be made that maybe, just maybe, it very well could be scripted. But we also got a comment, Car, from a viewer talking about now getting just a little bit more serious because this is the blend,
Yeah. Yep.
and we had a viewer
Blend it up.
who voiced his thoughts and wanted to know how we managed being step moms and stepdads, specifically with, and we'll bring Chantel and on this one because we were chatting before, in being that parental figure, not the dad,
Right.
not the biological dad, not the biological mom, but how to manage that and do that right. So this is something we've talked about quite a bit because I have two of your biological kiddos
Yes.
and my
And
three
I have
boys.
your 3 boys, yeah.
So it's quite a thing. How do
Yeah.
you do it? I don't.
Well, the thing of it is that, first of all, our kids, the 5 of them, are amazing, and they get along really well, and they're at the perfect ages. So they're not the same. None of them are the same exact same age. So it's like, our my daughter's 15, my son is 12, John's oldest is 11, and then your middle one is 9, and then we have his youngest who's 8. And so it's kind of like the perfect blend. And but it there is, I love children.
Mm.
I absolutely love children, and it's my nature to be extremely nurturing. And so a lot of people were like, "He's got 3 kids. You have 2. That's 5 kids. Are you crazy? Like, what are you thinking?" But my whole life is children. I'm with kids all day.
Mm.
And so it was just a normal thing to me, I guess, to just it's what I'm used to. I teach school, I taught middle school for years, but I am an elementary school teacher. So I think that helped quite a bit too.
So we're going to
Yeah.
bring in and introduce Chantell McFarland, who is our guest, and she is fresh from Memphis, and we'll talk all about that in a little bit. But I wanted to bring you in on this because blended having blended families, Chantell is the norm. You
Mhm.
have one yourself as well.
I do, yeah. It's for me it was a little bit different. It's so funny how I feel like you and I are similar in many ways, but in terms of our love of children, we are very different. I actually went to school initially for education, music education, and I changed careers after doing a practicum because I did not like my experience with the children. However, this has been my first time, ever really being involved and at this intimate of a level. And for me, the challenge has been boundaries. Wanting there may be things that I would do or things that I would want to do, but keeping the boundaries of that while I am a step parent, they're not my children.
Mhm.
I can speak my opinion, but there has to be boundaries and obviously what is actually done. So that's been for me the biggest challenge. And I think once you kind of come to that set of boundaries and of being in agreement with one another, right?
Hmm.
You two agreeing on what you want to do with your children, then I think that it makes the blend even better. So when the parents are, on the same page.
It is,
Hmm.
and then of course, sometimes it comes to the point of even things like discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
Mhm.
when it's Cara and me, well, how it rolls because, like, it's my role to discipline, my boys,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and so it's kind of interesting, but, the longer we're together and the whole family is together, that can kinda shift a little bit
Yeah,
as
and
people become
sometimes it
more
does.
comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
sometimes it does. I mean, like, I have my kids a lot of the time. So John will discipline my kids a little bit more because they're with me probably 90% of the time. They see their dad every other weekend for, an overnight, sometimes 2 overnights. Um, but it's a different dynamic. And
Mhm.
so with John's boys, it's more of like I'm more of a guy. I'm there for guidance,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of
Yeah.
like the nurturer.
Mhm.
And what do you need, and what can I get?
Mhm.
So it's a little different. But I don't really discipline his boys often. I don't really have to. You know, they're good kids, and I'm always just like, John, they're a little loud in the basement. What's going on? I think somebody's
Mhm.
throwing Legos at the TV. So,
Mhm.
so he'll go
Um,
downstairs. What are you doing?
it is, yeah, but it is. There's so many families that are like ours,
Mhm.
and maybe 40 years ago that wasn't the case.
Oh yeah.
And then the Brady Bunch was the Brady Bunch,
Right.
but this is
But
how
that
it
stood
is.
out because that was atypical,
Mhm.
and it was something that was becoming more common, but I think more as more families started to become that way, it was a unique take on what new family life is like. And especially as you have older people, let's say not people that are in their 20s coming together, But if you're in your late 30s, early 40s, or 50s, you already had a family. Now you're merging in with someone else. This is just the new look of family is blended.
Mhm.
It is. James Willis says, "Yo, hey Jim."
Jim.
Ann Iva says, "Hello, hi Ann.
Hi, Anne.
Thanks for joining us." Sherry Bethel, our dear friend, says, "I know, does seem odd. I think a lot of people want Baltimore to win, but I'm a Kansas City fan." She says, so there's that. Deborah Cardarella, our friend, says, "Hi, Chantell, Cara, and John."
Hi, Deb.
So Medina Cola says, "Hi, guys."
Soma.
By the way, everyone
Yeah.
who comments is in the running for Asoma's Aromas candle and also Park Lane Jewelry, which Cara will tell you about in a little bit.
There's something cool about Park Lane Jewelry too, which is ironic that that's coming up.
Well, you go ahead and tell me.
Okay, my grandmother, who, I always attribute like my singing and to her. She sang like Aretha Franklin, beautiful, beautiful voice. She's passed, but she loved Park Lane Jewelry.
Wow.
And when she passed, she had so many jewelry, or just so many different pieces, and some of them I actually have at home. And I would have never thought anything of it, but she really loved like just beautiful, elegant looking costume jewelry. She
Yeah.
didn't want to pay a lot of money for, gold or, things like that. But she loved Park Lane jewelry. So it's when you said the name, it was like, oh, grandma, I remember
Oh,
that.
that's a sign.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
amazing.
That has to be a
Mhm.
sign.
And her
Yeah.
birthday was just a few days ago.
Oh,
Too.
there
Well,
you
would have
go.
been a few days ago. Yeah.
There you
Well,
go.
because he messaged me today, and I don't know how it came up. I said, I'll just raffle some Park Lane. I mean,
Mhm.
I've been selling Park Lane for a few years. I love
Mhm.
it for the
Mhm.
same reasons that your
Mhm.
grandmother loved it. And the company's been around for years. And
Oh yeah.
so I don't like spending a lot of money on jewelry. I'm
Mhm.
not a big, there are certain things
Mhm.
that you want to spend a
Mhm.
little more on, but I can't
Mhm.
afford a lot of
Mm.
it. So
Well, especially if you like to spice it up, I like
right.
nice earrings. I like to, have more stylish outfits and things and earrings just or jewelry, necklace. It just makes that pop.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
good thing. It's a good thing. And Sherry Bethel says, "You guys are awesome. Thank you." And Iva says, "Hello. Never been to this show. No, and it has been on our Psychic Sunday quite a bit. But yeah, this is the blend, and we started a few weeks back. This is episode 3." Allison Allegra Baloo says, "Hello, hello, hello,
Hello.
Allison."
Mhm.
Wanna Mac says, "Hi, Chantal."
Hi, mommy.
Oh, there you go, there you go. Nat Romano says, "Remember Step by Step on TGIF."
Is
You've
that
heard of that.
step by step, day
Yeah.
by day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And Thistle and Thorn Floral says, "Hello, hello, Thistle and
Mhm.
Thorn." And custom jewelry is absolutely, it stands out, or costume jewelry,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sherry
Yeah.
says. So that is a good thing. But so here we are. And Chantel, I wanted her to come on the program because, wow, what an amazing run you had in Memphis. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
The
you.
It's
International
amazing.
Blues Challenge.
Mhm. Mhm.
So tell me how this all began for you. I mean, we know you as a performer
Mhm.
here, and
Mhm.
boy, we heard you perform a few times this
Mhm.
year, and we love
Yes.
Chantel
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
and her music.
Mhm.
So how did this all begin to head down to Memphis?
It actually started maybe 6 months ago. Gina Coleman asked if I would be interested in being in a band with her son, Diego. And because of the age difference between us, he wasn't sure if I would want to be in a band or if he came to me at that time, he may have been just turning 20 or 19, right? So he didn't know if I would want to be in a band with him. So she came to me and asked me, and I was like, sure, because he's a phenomenal musician, regardless of age. And so we got together, formed the Diego Mongue Band with myself, Chase Bradshaw, Diego, of course, and then Cam Benchavanga. And it was just kind of like off to the races. We started performing, went to Albany, won the Capital Region Blues Challenge, which earned us our spot in Memphis. And then we just got down there and just killed it. It was really, 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 really fun. It was truly international. My favorite band is from Germany.
Oh, wow.
And now I am friends with them online. We have actually been communicating still since we left Memphis. my second favorite band was from France. So
That's
it was
amazing.
really amazing to meet people from all over the world, really paying respect to this, older African American music art form and helping keep it alive. So it was a really amazing trip.
And you performed many, many times. This
I
wasn't like
did.
one
Yeah.
time and you were judged or
Mhm.
something. How does that work? Like, how are you judged, or how do you
So
figure out who
usually when
wins?
you go down there, you have like you're guaranteed two performances. It's your usually your first day and your second day. We kind of went down there with four performances already planned because we had the two that you're guaranteed. We did a radio show for Radio Memphis, which was really, really cool. I had a lot of listeners. And then I got to perform in a Women in Blues feature, which was cool because they actually this her name is Michelle. She tagged me on Facebook and I thought it was spam. So I ignored it.
Oh man.
And so then I get a text message from Gina like, "Why didn't you respond to this post? Put your name in that." And I was like, "She said write my name on the wall and I'm going to be entered into something. Like that's normally spam."
Yeah.
And so Gina's like, "No, Chantel, write your name." So I literally put my name like an hour or two before she was going to close the drawing. And it's literally a lottery to be featured in the Women in Blues. And there's all kind of labels that are down there that specifically come from Women in Blues to like find different artists that they haven't seen before. So it's like it's a real honor to be in the show. And so the lady was on the live, Michelle, she's pulling names and she calls my name at the last, second. I was the fifth name that she pulled. So I
Wow.
was like, what are the chances that I thought this was spam? I ignored it. I threw my name in last minute and it happened to be picked.
That
So
is awesome.
Wow. Wow. That is tremendous. And so I think you get spammed all the time.
yes.
We all get
Yes. Oh
Oh
spammed.
my
yeah.
gosh.
Oh
And
yeah.
so when somebody says, "Hey, put your name on a wall on
You're like,
social media," you're
Mhm.
okay.
like, "Oh, what is?" Yeah, because how many times do we get tagged? And
Especially with the notifications and the at everyone's and yeah.
Right.
so
Oh boy.
are you missing your big break if you don't?
I know,
Can you
should we
imagine?
be responding to them? Maybe.
I mean, I don't know. Now, it makes me think twice. And it's interesting because so much business is conducted online, and we're being told, and it's true that in order to get your brand out there, or to be a business owner, or be a
Mhm,
performer, you need to be able to get yourself out there.
mhm,
So it's like this double-edged sword
It
of,
is. Yes.
and Cara, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah,
mhm,
because I'll tell you, I had a friend reach out, and I'm still not convinced that it's really her.
mhm. You need to have secret questions.
Well, that was
But we did
it.
it.
And
Oh,
we did.
We did
I
that.
did they
said,
pass?
well, it's about cryptocurrency, right? And so
Mm,
I don't
Immediately,
really
you're like,
know a
"Okay,
lot
this
about
is
that. And I'm
mhm,
like, so, she reached out to me
mhm,
and I was at work, so I wasn't able to talk to her, but I said, give my husband a call.
mhm,
And so I said to John, when she calls, ask her where we went to school. What
mhm,
school did we attend
mhm,
together? She didn't answer the question, so I'm still not
mm.
convinced.
So I would say that's probably spam, because if
Yeah,
you knew that someone asked that question and you knew the answer,
yeah."
you would just answer it, dispel any
right.
But the
disbelief.
funny thing is you're
Yeah.
still not exactly sure.
I'm
Yeah.
not because
That's
she
the
A
messaged
phone
me
call.
right.
Only a phone call
Yeah.
would do.
And she messaged me, she said, "He asked me where we went to school together." Wow, and I was just like, "Well,
Like, how dare he?
just answer the question. If it's you, it shouldn't be
Mhm,
that hard, you know?"
mhm,
So, I'm still not
mhm.
convinced, but if
Yeah,
she's
it's
listening and it was her, y let
yeah.
me know.
Call.
There you
Yeah,
go.
give
Don't
us a
Yeah.
send another
call.
message.
So there you go. There you go. And that's why people want to do business with people they know.
Mhm,
Mhm.
And you can have the same product being sold, or the same message being delivered, when it's someone who you know is a real human being, and you have some sort of history with, then it makes all the difference. I guess I'm kind of stating the obvious,
mhm.
but I don't know if it is. I don't know if it is
Yeah,
obvious. Yeah.
it's worth being said.
Yeah.
It's worth being said.
Yes.
Deborah Cardarella says it was fantastic to be able to watch Chantel. So fun. Now, did Deborah? She didn't go down.
We streamed,
Oh,
every night.
okay,
Yeah, Gina Coleman, from Misty Blues was
okay.
so generous to us and was, streaming, obviously Diego being her son, but she was such a huge supporter and advocate of us, completely, during the trip, so that was
Wow.
wonderful. And she held the camera steady for a half an hour increments.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And we gotta get her a tripod.
Mhm. Yes. Mhm.
There is a solution for that, Gina. But no,
Mhm.
but I've seen her, and I actually saw Gina and the Misty Blues perform at a
Oh,
wedding
yeah, that was
this
great.
past
Mhm.
year, and the most amazing. Um, uh, it was Hava Nagila
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
performed,
Yes.
and I think it was the first time she had ever performed it,
Mhm.
and
It
it
was
was
just
wow,
yeah,
Wow.
it
the
was
whole dance floor was
phenomenal.
packed. It was
Mm.
so fun.
It was
Yeah,
phenomenal,
yeah.
and
Gina is so modest, but she is low key famous. So when we are in Memphis, we walk around on Beale Street and I listen to Misty Blues music and I hear a voice coming like out of a restaurant. And I just left Gina in one restaurant, so I know that she's not performing. She's playing on the radio, like when you're walking by clubs and you hear Misty Blues. You go to a venue with her and everyone's like, that's Gina Coleman. That's Misty Blues.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, Gina, you're Memphis famous. How it was just and we felt like we were just being shadowed by
So
a
she's
superstar all weekend.
Memphis famous,
Absolutely. Oh, and blues, definitely blues famous, and which Memphis is a huge hub for that.
mm,
So it was really cool to be seen with her down
right.
there.
It sounds like there are these stories. I can't remember the name, but it was this performer who had a big hit in the '60s or something. But and I cannot remember the name of the singer, and he
Mhm.
was on 60 Minutes.
Mhm.
It was a so and he was wildly popular in some country like South Africa or
Mhm.
something,
Mhm.
and no one knew that the guy was still alive. He was living in
Mhm.
Detroit,
Mhm.
just there, and so it just reminded me of that music can resonate in a way, and he came back for a concert. There's like
Mhm.
50,000
Mhm.
people came to this concert, and
Wow.
it was
Mhm.
amazing. And
Mhm.
then he just went back to Detroit.
Yeah.
To live a quiet life.
So it's
Mhm.
kind of interesting how Gina can walk down the street in Pittsfield and like any of us, and then but she's down in Memphis and she's
Oh yeah.
more of a celebrity there,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and maybe you are too, but you're a
Well,
celebrity.
by the end of the competition,
You're both
yeah, I would say when
celebrities
I'm
here.
home, I feel
Yeah.
like everyone
Yeah.
knows me. But as soon as I leave the Berkshires, that's done, you know. And so then it's like after the competition, we were on the street and we would hear Chantell, Diego.
Oh,
We were in the airport. People were recognizing us. People were clapping. Like on the. It was just. It was definitely. It was good. It was interesting, but it was weird.
Hmm.
yeah.
Deborah Sadowi says hi, Cara and John.
Hey, Deb.
This is great entertainment for me listening on my drive home from Osteo Strong. Will Chantel be singing tonight? Well, the answer is one day she will be singing
Yes.
on our show.
Yeah. We were just talking about that before.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll have this set up. The old show, we had the show at the storefront. We had enough space and enough kind of equipment
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
sort of handle the bigger band. We could probably do an acoustic performer,
Yeah.
but not much more than maybe a acoustic duo in this space right
Mhm.
here. But eventually,
Yeah. We
Our
will
blues
get there.
band is rocking. We will blow out the windows.
yeah. and during the day,
Oh yeah.
it may not work. So
Yeah.
it definitely have to be a night
Mhm.
performance. And so Michelle Hill says hi, Chantal,
I'm shy.
and some more comments coming in. Denise Marie says hello, hello. Ashley Davidson says Gina Coleman played a while back for an event of mine at Balderdash. She and her band donated her time so we could donate to a local organization.
Mm,
Her son truly is so talented. What great people they are.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
yes, and that really is amazing because live music, I feel like, has made a comeback. Now,
Mhm.
I'm 45, so I went through a generation when maybe some of the weddings that we went to
We're DJs.
were
Mhm.
well
Mhm.
early, like
Maybe
early
early
80s.
80s.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like some of my cousins, some of my
Yeah.
older
Mhm.
cousins,
I
there
remember
were
my
bands.
uncle his band played at his own wedding. So
Mm. Mhm.
I remember that. I think I was about 7 and he sang Born to Be Wild
At his
at his
wedding?
wedding. My
Are they still
uncle.
married?
Yes.
Well, all
Yes,
right.
they
It worked.
are.
All
Yes.
right.
He's a drummer. He's a drummer, but he did sing that
Mhm.
song and I'll never forget it. And it was like, "Oh my god,
Mm.
I love him."
That is a great song to sing. But and then we also grew up, and there was a lot of open mic in Pittsfield.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
karaoke.
well, you're right. So there's La Cocina.
Mhm.
There was even what was the place I went going to Pepe's? Used
Pepe.
to
Oh my goodness.
even had
Yeah.
some open mic.
In the underground,
Mhm,
where the Crown Plaza is, the
mhm,
underground used to do karaoke on the weekends.
yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
They
then
used to actually do a competition.
in North Adams, Key West used to have
Oh, Key
open mic.
West. Yeah.
I don't know if they still have it there. Of course, Mission did for a
Mhm.
while.
We did open mic.
You did open
Yeah.
mic at
Yeah.
Brulee's.
Yeah.
Mm.
And down in South County, there was Club Helsinki. And that was
Mhm.
probably before your
Mhm.
time,
Yeah.
Chantell, when you were in the Berkshires. But there was that whole scene going on, and it really, by and large, went away pretty
Mhm.
dramatically. Now it's starting to come
Mhm.
back on the open mic
Mhm.
front.
The
But
Barn for sure,
yeah,
and Sideline is a new one that's doing open mic on
Oh,
Tuesday with
really?
yep, Elaine, hosts it,
yeah.
Morel.
So I'm seeing that,
Mhm.
and I think it started with more live performances
Mhm.
happening because there was kind of a time where live performances weren't really
Mhm.
the thing. Now, especially now post
Mhm.
COVID, I'm going to say like the last year,
Mhm.
it's really ramped up
Mhm.
pretty significantly.
Yeah.
You,
Well,
you
I
don't
think
you don't
it's
have
now
trouble
more
finding it.
advertisement is happening.
Yeah.
I feel like I never knew that there was so much live music. Really, and it's because of being friends with the Masseries, that kind of opened my eyes to it. So there's so many venues that do it, but they don't really do the best job at advertising it. So unless you know someone who's gigging, you may not even know that there are on any given night probably 3 or 4 good performers out there around Berkshire County,
Mm,
between Pittsfield and South County.
yeah. And a man named Joe McCullough says, "Hello, wife."
Hubby.
Now, he says 143 exclamation point.
143, that means I love you.
Oh, okay. I learned
Sweet.
something new. So I hope I didn't break his code, because I don't know if he was trying to, say it under the radar, but so now we know.
Mhm.
So 143 card. There you
Oh.
go. We're all Patty Zaccaro says hi, Chantel, Cara,
Oh,
and Jana.
Patty.
In the running for a Soma's Aroma candle and also Park Lane jewelry. So I think that you've really certainly made a name for yourself in the Berkshires
mm,
for sure. But it's growing,
yeah.
and so you have a 40 under 40 nomination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I'm
Cara and I are
beating
not
you
eligible
right
for
to
that.
No,
I have
no.
limited time. Limited time remaining.
Oh, come on. You have plenty of time, right? Several years. So.
Several. Actually, when I was in Memphis, I got carded. The bartender didn't believe that I was over 21 because Diego made a comment about all the instrumentalists being in college. And then someone else thought that Diego was my husband and that we were all the same age. And it was very few people believed that I was over 30. And I was like, I'm almost 40. So
Uh,
yeah, it was very interesting. Age is, you know, just
yeah.
fleeting.
Yeah.
And time is flying.
Yep.
But speaking of Joe, you were married.
Yeah.
And so you did have, and I'll try to pull it up, but there was a very much a viral
Mhm.
post that included you in your wedding dress.
Mhm. And
So
several wedding dresses.
several ways. So yeah, so tell me about that,
Mhm.
and I'll pull it up. I think we can
Mhm.
get it on the screen as well while you're explaining.
We went, shopping at, David's Bridal in Albany, and I ended up picking a dress that was from Deirdre's. So, I always recommend
Okay.
Deirdre's.
Yeah.
So just
We
just to
love
say it,
Deirdre.
put that out there.
Yeah.
I did go with Deirdre's in the end. But we, went to David's Bridal, and I was just trying on a lot of dresses, and it's funny how in your head, when you're used to being one size and being small, and it's like my mind hasn't caught up to, like, the new size of my body, and so I was trying on these dresses that in my head I thought would look one way, and then once I actually put them on, they did not. And as I was putting a video together just to show people of like the dresses I tried on, just hilarious thoughts started coming to me. So I just played the video and recorded myself just saying my thoughts. And what most people commented was that they thought I was hilarious. And yeah, I think it was almost 1.3 million views or something,
Wow.
1.2 million, something like that. Yeah.
It's so yeah, we're looking at it now on the Facebook version,
Yes,
which has
yep.
about 6,000 views, and but for Instagram probably went. That was the one
Mhm.
with the many millions.
It was crazy. It was like I woke up and it was at like 300,000, and I
Mm,
had never gone over 24,000. So
mm.
I was literally just shunned or just stalked. So I like shared it again. I was like, "You guys, this video has so many views." The next day it was like up to 600,000. I was like, "Holy crap!" You
Wow.
know. And then at a million, I was like, "Is this me? Like, who is this? What is happening?"
Yeah,
It was
but
very
it's good to know
surprising.
that it can happen
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and
because
it was so real too.
Mhm.
I mean, how many women go through that where
Mhm.
you have a vision in your head of what you think is
Yeah.
going to be amazing, and then
Mhm.
you're just like, no,
Mhm.
we've all been
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
speaking of that, so I was just comfortable getting ready for bed, brushing my teeth
Getting your
last night
nighttime routines
Yep.
in
going.
the last in the routine,
Yep.
and then my wife comes and says, "Oh, you gotta see this. You've got to see this. Wait till you see. Let me know what you think." And she struts in, and she I don't know. I can't even explain
Now, let me ask you, when a
my
woman comes with that,
well,
does it
yeah, that's the
strike fear
thing.
in your heart because you don't know what it's gonna be?
Like because
He was
here,
in the bathroom
I mean,
brushing his teeth, and it's kind of late at night, and I realized I didn't check the mail. I was like waiting. I had gotten an email that it my shipment arrived, and I've been
Mm,
so excited about
mhm.
this shipment.
she's so excited.
And so I went outside at 10:30 last night,
Look at the mail.
and the package was there, and I was like,
Mm.
yes. So I put them on.
She was so
Mhm.
excited. Like she was it was like a
Yep.
kid.
Yeah.
And so she put them on and they and so to spell with the suspense,
Yes.
they are overalls.
John.
And that's now
Adorable.
just to be clear, that if you're watching on Facebook, that is not Cara. That's a
Yeah.
model right there
Yeah.
because Cara did not wear the overalls tonight, although
No.
we did consider it.
I'm gonna wear them
I
next
mean,
week.
I thought she was gonna wear. I was like, well, you're
Yeah.
gotta wear the
Well,
overalls.
there's there's certain things. So I had put the overalls on, and John sometimes has a hard time visualizing what something
He can't see
could
the
look like.
potential of the
The
Right.
outfit.
potential.
Yes. Yes.
The
I know that. I
Yes.
know that struggle.
And so I bought the Halara overalls that are all the rage on
Mhm.
TikTok. And so TikTok shop is a thing. And I'm not like an impulse buyer like that, but I had been seeing the
What the
overalls.
overalls got.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're comfortable. And when I was a kid, when I was in college, I had CK overalls.
Mhm.
I worked at the mall, Berkshire Mall, at County Seat, for
Mhm.
all of you who can remember County Seat. And we had CK jeans, and there were these CK overalls, and I wore these things on a Thursday night. I went to Siena College in
Mhm.
Loudonville, New York,
Mhm.
and we'd go to this club called Miracles. Cheesicles, sometimes we call it. And I'd wear the overalls,
A miracle.
Miracles, to the club on a Thursday night when all the girls are wearing like club clothes. I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna wear my overalls. I just want to be chill. And sometimes I'm like that. It's a
What
little.
kind of shoes did you wear?
I wore these really cool, like black, big chunky shoes with it.
Okay.
I mean, they looked at the
Mhm.
time, that's what was
Mhm.
popular. And so I'd wear these overalls, and let me tell you, like they were a hit.
Well, you're beautiful, so it could not have been that the overalls were a hit. It could have been that you were just cute and you
Yeah.
happened to be
Well,
in the overalls.
Yeah. Well, my roommate would borrow. She was like, Cara, like every guy is checking
Mm.
you out. And so when she went out, she'd be like, can I wear the overalls?
Mm.
And I was like, sure. So everyone wanted to borrow the overalls. So I thought, hey, overalls. I'm going to relive my college years. Halara overalls.
So when I saw her, I was like, "Are you gonna get the hat to be like Super Mario?" Because they were blue.
Valentine's Day, get her a
They're
straw hat.
blue.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I was like, "What in the 1997 are you wearing?"
And he was not a fan. And so I was joking and I was dancing around the bedroom singing the Super Mario's. Do, 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 do. Maybe I'll wear them next week, but I have to get a shirt. So the overalls will look better with a fitted white top.
Go
boat
to
neck.
Chrissy's on Elm Street.
Okay, great idea. Great idea. So I'm gonna get the right shirt for the overalls because I had on a white t-shirt, like a white baggy kind of shirt. It just didn't go.
Yeah.
So you need a fitted white shirt with the overalls, and there's pockets.
The pockets are the best.
Yeah.
I have overall shorts that I love, and my family completely hates.
Yeah. And by the way, we did put a poll out there that says, do you want a pair of overalls like Cara's? We do have 50% say yes. Okay, we got 50% saying yes, and we do have 17% saying, what is this, 1993? But I also made the poll, so that was an answer that I provided.
But some people agreed.
Yeah.
So a small percentage agreed with that. So continue to give us your feedback on the overalls, and so they're going viral on TikTok. Yeah.
For you with the overalls.
Thank you.
So now, because of the blend, Pittsfield is just going to be just
Popping
filled
with overalls.
Everyone's
Popping
gonna have them.
ladies
But
in overalls.
Hey, John, my one thought
all
with
over
the
North Street.
overalls is
Let
when
me
I
tell
do
you.
the energy work, they're just comfortable. They're loose, and so when you do energy work, it's just a comfort
You want to be
thing.
free and
Yeah,
flowy.
So I'm like, oh, I can wear these when I do energy work, and because I always wear leggings. This just gives me another option.
There you go. I think Chantell at her next performance is gonna be rocking. She's gonna be rocking.
Well, I'll be at the barn in February. I'll get the overalls out.
Well, there you go.
Then I'll never be asked back.
You're gonna. Oh, come on. Everyone will be wearing them. Of course.
Start a trend.
Sherry says, I love the overalls. Deborah Cardarella says, I saw those overalls in pink on Amazon. So, hey, Stephen Valenti, hey, come on, guys. Let's get some overalls. I know you have a women's,
women's corner.
The women's corner. Yes. And Nat Romano says, I bet the girls were checking you out too. Oh, geez. Okay, I'm not going to touch that one. Because I already did. Patty Giancarlo says, I love overalls, but not for me. Okay, Patty. All right. Michelle, our friend D'Ambrosio, says, I have been missing Club Helsinki since it was closed in 2009. Me too, Michelle. GB Nightlife isn't the same without it. Although, I will tell you that GB Nightlife is not so bad.
The Well, I think it's called.
I love the Well.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Do they ever do anything live there? I mean, it's not.
I don't know that they really have the space. I can't imagine where they would. I'm not going to say no, but I can't.
Yeah, let's put it this way, Michelle. Pittsfield could use a little of GB's nightlife.
Yeah.
So we could use a little taste of that.
Yes, we could.
In downtown Pittsfield. Although we love Dorothy's, which is going to be a new spot. You probably already have something booked there. I know Gina's performing Friday night.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're opening the whole thing with a big shebang with Gina, and I'm sure you'll be on deck soon enough.
Get ready to dance.
Juana Max says, I have never ever worn overalls.
My mother, when we lived in Chicago, was the most bougie dresser. She used to have this mink coat. Chicago was obviously very freezing. And so when I was little, I thought, I want to be just like my mom. And she always had on the prettiest little heels and the cutest little dresses. She was such a snazzy dresser.
Yeah. Speaking of heels, I loved your heels that you had on in that when I created the logo for tonight. Those are beautiful.
They're crystals all over the shoes.
They're gorgeous.
I wore a different pair of cute heels almost every night that we got to perform.
Yes, I love them.
That and the little scarf was my thing.
I'm a shoe girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there, can you see the heels there? Oh, there they are. Are those the same heels?
Yes.
That you're talking
It's hard to see in the picture, but they were really, really cute.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Bev Kroll, that's my mom.
Hi, Bev.
Says overalls, question mark, times 3.
Bev, I'm going to wear them to your house. I really have a feeling you're going to love them.
Well, you didn't. didn't finish her comment. Way too hard to go potty.
Oh, true, true.
That's the that's that.
That's how you have to measure your clothes. Can
Yes.
you easily potty in them without pottying in them?
Right.
Covering new ground tonight on the blend. Love it. Love it. So and also let's talk about the performances here. So there's some Grammy-ish ness being mentioned. I know some of that's hush hush,
Yeah,
but
well, just like getting into the recording academy,
yeah.
and working on status there, it's been a really interesting journey. The more albums that I'm putting out and the more notoriety that's getting, it's only, going to go up from there. Again, with Misty Blues, she was going to be up for a few nominations this year, didn't end up getting them. But I know that that's only, a matter of time. There's so much going on with that band and with the blues industry. And obviously, we're hopeful to be, streamed more, to be listened to more, to get our listens up and then to obviously be on those same lists. So
So what?
yeah.
So tell me about that sort of. Maybe not hierarchy is the right way to describe it, but like, what is the gold standard for a band? Now you have an album, and I want to
Hmm.
plug that also.
Hmm.
But as far as a band in 2024, obviously a lot different than
Hmm.
selling physical albums and
Yeah.
the way that it used to be. So now it's about downloads and things like that. So, but
Yeah.
give me a rundown of what success looks like,
Mhm.
as you rise through the ranks.
I think successes is like streaming on Sirius XM is one large measurement of success. That's where you can, actually begin to earn from your listens. So if people requesting your music is always the best because that's going to get you played more. And then overseas play as well, being recognized in other places is another measurement of success because oftentimes there's more money in music overseas than what there is here, especially if you're not on a major label, which is something that we're looking at doing is being signed.
Mhm.
So much exciting things came out of Memphis. We don't want to put anything out there that we haven't solidified, but there's a lot of just big things that are coming for Diego Mongue Band and myself out of that.
Mhm.
And being signed is the first step, of measuring our success and getting to a new level that there's only we can do a decent amount, especially locally, but when it comes to that notoriety nationally, and then like I said, more overseas, being on a label and pushing that and having them help push your music is the our next course of action and the best step.
Yeah. That is tremendous. So tell me about the album.
The album I love, we actually did it right up in North Adams at Studio 9,
Mhm.
which if you have not been there, I highly, highly recommend it, even if just for a show, for a stay, right? It's just to take a tour, right? It's a beautiful facility, and they're very engaged with the music community locally. So we recorded everything there, and Diego wrote all of the songs except for maybe two of them that are on the album. 44 is an old blues song. I have an uncle, Jesse Talbert, who was in Chicago as a blues singer, used to sing that song, 70s, 80s, 90s. So it's a very old song, and it was old then.
Hmm.
And then there's another one, Roll and Tumble, which is another like old blues song. But every other song that's on the album, Diego wrote. So it
Hmm.
was really cool. After we finished up in Memphis, we were hanging out for a few days and we just started sitting around the house. I was playing at the microwave and just a melody and lyrics came to me. So I ran into the living room and I was like, pause SpongeBob, because all the kids are watching SpongeBob. And so I sang it and they just get the guitar and start, playing. We wrote a song. A few minutes later, Diego's just sitting there playing on the bass and I hear another melody. So I start singing. We record that just on the iPhone, another song. We end up stumbling across like 5 songs in one day. The last one was on the airplane. It's a little phrase that we all have jokingly with each other. And we were like, we need to find a way to put that into a song. And so I just started singing something and it came out and I was like, man, that's amazing. So Chase, our bass player, gets out his phone and records it. And that was the fifth one. So we're already, 3 songs short of a new album.
Wow,
So
that's
Wow.
great.
yeah, it's really interesting how I feel like being with them, not that I'm siphoning their youth, but it does kind of feel that way in a little bit. It's very energizing,
Mhm.
very just exciting and energetic in a way that I feel as you get older, not that there's some zealousy in life that you lose, but you kind of settle in, you become more content,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
And they're young, they're still fighting to find their way. So that's actually one of the one of the songs on the album is called Find My Way. Um, but yeah, it's been very interesting.
And creativity come I think it's maybe people maybe they know this or maybe they don't, but you know this that creativity comes in spurts,
Mhm.
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 and it doesn't surprise me that you can crank out an album really quickly when you have that fire and you have that
Mhm.
inspiration. And
Mhm.
Kara's an author
Yeah.
of books, and we know, and
And you
so
can't write every
you know,
day. Some
No.
days it's just
Mhm.
not there, and then other times it's there.
And it's pouring out of you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and so and it maybe hopefully get those next three songs done.
I know. Chop chop.
But that's really how it happens because it
Mhm.
can be magic,
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
Oh yeah. And that's literally what it felt like. And when you're writing together, there's a certain magic about it because everybody's input goes into the song. And then it's like everybody gets a moment to shine versus you're doing someone else's music. And even though it's Diego, we can connect to it because we know him, we understand him. And a lot of the songs, if you listen to the original way and then the way that I've done them, like the melodies change. And I always ask him, like, "Hey, I hear this melody a little different. Can I just like take it?" And he's like, "Yeah, whatever you hear, you do." And so having that creative freedom, just I feel makes us all just better.
Mm,
So I think each of us kind of feels like we play our best in this group,
yeah.
you know.
You're
Now
all kind of vibing
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
same, like, frequency,
Yeah.
which that's awesome.
well, you met for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've only been playing together for 6 months. So when I think that we made it to the semifinals and how well we did down there, we're just like, "Okay, and we've only been together for 6 months. Imagine what we can do when we've had a year under our belt or 2 years."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I know you are too.
Yeah. I'm really tired because we just got back, so I feel like I'm a little muted, but I'm definitely just excited does not even I'm honored, first of all, that they being with the age difference that they wanted, to have me in the band and that we've just connected. They haven't been standoffish or, like, distant teenagers. They're just amazing musicians.
Yeah.
So that's been phenomenal.
It is, and I think it's gotta be fun to pull off that energy,
Oh yeah.
for sure. So Michelle D'Ambrosio says, "Haven't been to the well. About the overall survey, maybe, exclamation point. My overalls back in the day were jeans."
Those would have been a little tighter.
Those would have been a little bit but back in the '90s, they kinda had
Well, the
those
CK, they were denim, but they were baggy, but
Mm.
they were
yeah,
just the right. I don't know what it was. There was something
really
that
has some
made them look good. I know. I wish I
just
saved them. I didn't.
yeah, you could I
Yeah.
mean, what would you do with them?
Walk around
Would you
town
still
to
like
prove
Around
they
the
were
house
stylish.
and
I was gonna say, what do you like, put them up on a Hall of Fame wall or something? What? Uh,
Retired overalls.
yeah.
they made it to the Hall of Fame. Um, Michelle says, and we called them bibs.
Oh, I could see
Because
that.
of the pocket up top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Or because they caught everything.
and she
Yeah.
says Studio 9 is gorgeous,
It
great
is.
acoustics.
Oh yeah,
Heard
it is.
great things about that, and
Now, where is Studio 9 again?
In North Adams, it's right across the street from Mass Mocha, like from
Oh, okay.
their
Porches, right?
yeah,
Or
Porches,
is it
Okay.
the
literally.
Porches building? Yeah, okay.
Yes, it's right behind it.
Yeah.
Huh.
So the Porches is an inn,
Mhm.
high end, and the studio is actually in that
Yeah,
building.
it's
So
beautiful.
Oh, wow.
and there's performances there too for a
Yes.
smaller
Mhm.
venue kind of
Yep.
performances. Yeah.
I would say it's probably less than 150, but they probably do on average between 75 to 125, I think,
Hmm.
is a comfortable
Okay.
capacity there. So
Okay.
it's a decent sized
That's
venue, but it's
pretty big
not
room.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the perfect sized
Mhm.
room because you can see, back in the day, Helsinki or even Mission, there you can. I'm not going to put a number on it, but it's probably like 50 people
Mhm.
that you could get in there. It's
Mhm.
pretty jam packed.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you get up to say, well, the Colonial Theater, then you're
Mhm.
600 people.
Mhm.
So having something in
Right.
between
Mhm.
is really good for sort of these up and coming bands
Mhm.
that, wanna make, do sell tickets and get a
Mhm.
good number, but
Mhm.
maybe 600 is too much, or
Exactly.
500, or even 300,
Exactly.
maybe 150 would be the magic
Mhm.
number,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think and that's probably their goal is intimate and comfortable, um, encounters musically with amazing artists, and that's they have achieved that vibe.
Hmm.
That's great. I remember, the Gypsy Joint in Great Barrington.
When was that around?
My gosh, it was well,
Just back.
probably I don't know when it closed, maybe 10 years ago? I don't
Mm,
know, I could have that wrong, but it was open for a while, because I went to Monument Mountain,
mhm,
and so then when we got older, everybody would go to the Gypsy Joint, and they had,
mm,
you know, live music, and
mm,
it was cool, but I can't remember when it closed, but it was kinda like that. There were couches, and it was a really cool place.
mm,
Yeah.
And, Michelle said 44 Blues by Diego's
mm,
band. That is the best rendition ever.
mm,
That's what she says.
mm.
So
Thank you.
I've not heard that
Mhm.
version, so but I'm sure she's right. Did you perform that?
I did
Okay.
on every song I'm on, yep.
Okay.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
So I'm not sure if she heard your version of it.
She has,
She
yes.
had. Okay. Okay.
Mhm,
Okay. Good.
mhm.
All right.
And
So
I'm sure she's heard there's a lot of versions of that. It's a song about a man who sold his gun because he needed money. So he's saying, I wore the 44 so long, strapped across my shoulder. It
mhm.
made my shoulder sore, but I sold it to have some,
How's it
some
go?
gold.
Yeah.
I wore my 44 so long, Lord, and made my shoulder sore. It's like that, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I could listen
Mhm.
to you all night.
Mhm.
Julie McDonald, and that's acoustic. We are so proud of you, Chantell McFarland. Way to represent. And no one does sweet love like Chantell. That's a
Oh, Anita Baker.
okay.
Yeah. Julie said that?
Sherry said
Okay, I was gonna say that sounds like a Sherry thing.
it. And Deborah Cardarella says yes, the Gypsy Joint was great.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm dating myself, I think, with that, but
Well, I just didn't live here then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, where are you from?
I'm from Chicago, but before I lived here, I've lived in like 9 different states, but before I lived here, I lived in like the DC area. So my sister and I lived there, and so during that time, I would have been there. I moved back to Massachusetts in 2016, but I lived in Springfield for like a year, maybe a little less, and then I bought my house in Pittsfield in 2017. So
Mhm.
that's kind of when I moved back to the area
Now,
as an established adult.
what brought you to Pittsfield?
When I was a kid, my dad was the pastor of a church in West Pittsfield, actually on Anoda Street, Samuel Harrison's church. Um, I'm blanking on the name now. Second
Yeah,
Congregation. Yeah.
second, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My dad was a pastor there. And so that's ultimately why we moved from Chicago.
Okay,
Mm, yeah.
okay, and then you went away, and
Yeah.
then that
After college, during college, I went to Pennsylvania, didn't like it. And then I came back here, lived in Stephentown for a few months. And then I went to UMass
the
Boston,
the only Steventown
yeah.
the only
in the
Stephentown.
world,
Mhm.
and there
Yep.
you were. Now, where
Mhm.
in Pennsylvania did you go and not like?
I was just outside of Philadelphia in Phoenixville. It was a Bible college. It
Okay,
wasn't really for me. So I was there for like
fair.
4 days,
Mhm,
and then
mhm.
I left. I ended up going to BCC for, um, maybe 2 semesters, and then after that, I transferred out and went to UMass Boston.
Yeah,
So
and were you performing all during that time,
no,
or
I was doing classical music when I was in school. I was doing like opera. And then
wow.
in my
Cool.
second year at Westfield, decided that I wanted to do jazz band because I needed another ensemble. And I picked jazz band, and that's really kind of when things with jazz took off. And Andy Warber and I were actually in college together. So he was in like a jazz group, and so they would play for our vocal jazz band. So we did that, and then I kind of stopped doing music. I would say probably from 21 until maybe 30, 33, and I didn't. It took me a long time to come back to it.
Wow,
Yeah.
Wow.
that's a long break.
Yeah.
That's a
It
long
was
break.
during COVID, not having, being home from work. I was temporarily laid off, and I was just at home, and my sister had moved to Pittsfield, and we decided to start a band, the Cashmere Souls. And so we were an all-female African American band, and we started off playing in Great Barrington through like the Berkshire busking, and we would play at what's the place? The co-op outside, on
Mhm.
Saturday
Sure.
mornings.
Yep.
That's where I got my first really bad sunburn.
Oh,
That it took almost 6 months for that to heal. It was really, really
wow.
bad.
Wow.
And so, because in the morning when I left my house in true Berkshire fashion, it was like 40 degrees. So I expected it to be a cold day, and it heated up to the 80s. And we were
Wow.
just sitting on this black lot
Oh,
with
man.
no covering
Jeez.
and just shoulders out. So yeah, that was my introduction back into music. And then really, I really would attribute it to Andy Warba pushing me.
Good
It's
for
like
you.
Yeah.
uncomfortably pushing me, but it was needed,
Mm.
and encouraging me to get out there. And it started off with me agreeing to sing at a mission Christmas for Warba Christmas. And after that, that was like 2019. And then it was off on the
Wow.
races from
Well,
there.
thank
Yeah.
God for Andy Warhol.
Thank
Yeah.
yes. Yes, yes, yes. Andy Warba. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you because it has blessed us all
Mhm.
with your talents and being
Andy
able
Warba's a
to.
good friend.
Yeah,
He's a good human.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. He is absolutely. I agree. Net Romano says, "What neighborhood my dad used to live in? Rogers Park. I think you were talking about Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I think, on the west side. I grew up in South Chicago.
hmm
Mm.
Yeah, so there it is. And then
Mhm.
I did want to cover one more thing before we left, because we talked about this quite a bit. Utilizing social influence for good.
Mm.
Yes.
And I figured that's a great way to end the program tonight. And everything. My experience with Chantel has always been that she deeply cares about the community,
Mm.
and that's actually how we really
Mhm.
got to know each other really over the last year or so. And but that's a core mission for you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's easy to look at people and to think that they've achieved a certain level of whatever in life, whether it's affluence financially or just as a person or being married, people may look up to you in a certain way. And I guess I would hear people say messages of, "Oh, I wish I were you," or "You're so lucky." And I say to myself, they don't know me. And
Mm,
so my idea became as a part of my healing journey, and sharing is initially how it started. And it became something where people would message me saying how they had no idea that I had been through XYZ, or that it was uplifting to them to actually see that someone who is coming out on the positive side had been through so much negative, and like, wow, how did you pull through all that? And so I was like, maybe this is something that I can do. And I would just post about my struggle. Like if I was even in step parenting, right? I've posted about that and how my goal has always been to do no harm, to honor myself and my own boundaries, but to also put aside my own experiences and to realize there are two children's lives in the balance that
mm,
are counting on me for a certain amount of stability, for love and support. And that means I have to put my trauma aside and how that would impact me as a parent, and focus on being healed in those areas so I don't pass down the trauma that I experience, right?
Mhm.
Or that I don't respond to them because I have a trauma response to something,
mm,
right? And so in sharing that, my platform just started growing, and people would follow, and I would wake up to hundreds of comments, or hundreds of likes, thousands of views on a video. And I that message just rang true with a lot of people, and it made me feel better. It made me feel like I wasn't being disingenuous to who I was, or like having a pretend life, which is, I feel like a lot of people do, where they only show the positive.
mm,
You only see when they're winning. You don't see that this person also took a lot of losses. This person battled cancer. This person has experienced sexual assault, domestic violence. All you see are the positive things. And
mm,
when people get to see those windows into who you actually are,
mm,
and that you are a person just like them who is struggling but is choosing, right, to
Mhm.
focus on the positive, is choosing to put affirmations out there, is choosing to challenge that negative inner self, and to do it in a public way, because for me that's accountability. So
mm,
if I just say these are things I want to do versus I put it out there, now I have to be accountable for it, because people actually approach me and want to discuss the things that I've posted.
mm,
So I have to be living what I want to live. And it makes me better, and I feel like it helps my family. So, and it makes my relationship better with Joe. He has had a lot of work of chipping away, ice from around my heart. And he's done an amazing job. Um, But yeah, that's been really important to use the influence that I do have to share positivity, but to let people know it's okay that sometimes you're down. It's just you can't stay there.
That's a really interesting, um, an amazing point because with people, you want to be positive all the
Mhm.
time. And we're also conditioned
Mhm.
to present
Mhm.
Mhm.
something. And this is
Mhm.
not just, people's egos or anything. It's like
Mhm.
society,
It is, yeah.
as far as that goes.
Mhm.
But the point being, if people are more, and everyone has their threshold of what's comfortable on
Mhm.
social media
Mhm.
or putting out there. But wow, like how powerful is that for people to actually be totally authentic and to
Mhm.
be okay with that? I mean,
Yeah.
it's something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's powerful.
It is. I mean, a lot of a lot of times people have no idea
Mhm.
what, you know,
Mhm.
what is going on in a person's life or what has gone on in a
Mhm.
person's life. And, and it's important. I mean, no one knew that I had cancer.
Mhm.
And so when I came out publicly and said something years later, because I
Mhm.
didn't say anything when it was going on, it resonated.
Mhm.
People had no idea. So it's like certain things happen in your life, and then when you can, just kind of be vulnerable with that and show
Mhm.
people your
Mhm.
vulnerability and maybe some of the ways that you overcame things and
Mhm.
whatever, it can help people. It
Mhm.
adds value.
Yep.
Even though it may have been a negative experience, it adds value
Mhm.
and can help people. So that's super important.
Yeah.
Deep experiences like that,
Mhm.
they change you. And
Mhm.
I think it's important to show that, and to show that you go through things, and whether it's for the good or bad, it changes you. And if it makes you better, then that's great. If it doesn't, then that's something to work through. But I think being honest about that change having occurred is not only good for you, but it's good for those around you who need that, who need to see that realness,
Mhm.
and that life, no matter who you are, life gets real.
Mm.
Yep.
Wow. That's amazing. Lori Dietel Gordano says Chantel for mayor. I'd vote for you. Carol Majeski says, enjoying the chat tonight.
Hi, Aunt Carol.
Chantel sounds like a lovely person. Nice to see good things happening to good people. Much luck to you and the
Mm,
band. I've heard from lots of people about how talented you are. Yes,
thank you.
yes. And you want to know talent also. Go ahead and watch her and Susan Davis. You know, just go to town with a drumstick,
Yeah.
like with no instrument
Mhm,
whatsoever. That was
mhm,
amazing.
That was awesome
We
that night. Yeah.
I'm trying to think, where were we?
We were at the Rusty
the
Anchor.
Rusty
Oh,
Anchor,
yes, yes, yes.
and
Yeah.
you're
Yes.
breaking down all the
Oh,
equipment
yeah.
was broken down, and you just had a drumstick.
Susan is like the best person to just like on the spot create. I mean, she could really just make amazing jingles. Like she just on the spot thinks of these songs. We were, I think, one time, maybe we were even at what's the place on the Dream Away? And you can just give her words or phrases and she can just make,
Mhm.
a song. And I'm like, how does all of this just live in your head? And she's like, I don't know, baby. It's just what I do. So it's so funny. But yeah, she definitely is an amazing person for being able to just come up
And
with
suddenly
just random songs.
Susan Davis pops in and says, "Hey, oh, she's
Write us a
watching.
song, Sue.
She's watching."
Yeah.
And Julie McDonald says that you're going to be at the barn, and you did mention that, so we'll make sure we
Mhm.
get a link in there. But give us the details again. February 2nd.
February 2nd,
Okay.
yep, 7:30.
Okay.
The Chantell featuring Diego Mongue Band will be at the barn. And I love the barn. In addition to Indie Warba, the barn is a huge reason because of their open mic that I got back into music. I'd say it started with karaoke when I saw on Facebook, they were one of the few places that had actually advertised they were doing karaoke. And so one of my friends from New York City was in town. And so my sister and my friend April, we all went down there, did karaoke, ended up meeting Jenny and Nick that night and fell in love with them as people and just started coming back. And then they told me about open mic on Wednesday. I ended up performing at an open mic. They loved us, ended up having us come and perform. And that's really, I think that may have been one of the first like real gigs that the Cashmere Souls had.
Mhm. Amazing. So,
Yeah.
so there it is. Chantel, thank you so much,
Thank you for having
You.
me. Thank
especially
you.
Yeah.
because you're probably a little jet lagged
I
and you're
Yes.
probably a little tired.
And you
So,
had mentioned that
uh,
it was cold there for a
was
couple days.
freezing.
Yeah.
We probably
yeah,
saw almost 100 accidents. Like, it was
mm,
really they have no way of getting the ice up, and
yeah,
people were just willing to risk it all and speed.
completely prepared. But you happily you were performing in nice warm
Mhm.
venues,
Yeah.
hopefully
Yes,
inside.
yes.
And
Serving around them.
so we can't wait to hear more of your music, and it is it's such a pleasure seeing you. You are a bright, shiny light in this community,
Thank you.
and we love you. And so, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It's been awesome.
Uh,
Well,
Everybody have a great night, and we'll see you soon. Love you.
See you. Love you.